What did I miss? Brian here, and well, this is going to be a bit of a different video, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail. Today, we're going to be talking about barrels. Everything's disassembled, it's not loaded, and it is safe to work with. In front of me, we have two Glock 19 barrels. On the left is the OEM Gen 5 barrel, and on the right is the Wilson Combat barrel. I'm going to set this aside for now. So it's no doubt that most Glock owners like to mod their Glocks. One of those mods being changing out the barrel, and this is coming from a Glock owner myself. And it could be for a number of reasons, like accuracy, looks, like if you're going for a Gucci Glock build, adding a suppressor if it has threads in the front, or some other odd or personal reason. But really, it all comes down to the person and what they want. Now, as I stated, this is the OEM Gen 5 Glock 19 barrel. There's not really much to it. This is the standard barrel that comes with all Gen 5 19s, 19Xs, Glock 45s, etc, etc. Glock calls this the marksman barrel, which we all know doesn't instantly make you a marksman, but they call it that because the rifling inside is a lot more complex compared to the older generation barrels. You can tell it's been used. Not a whole lot of wear and tear on it for owning it for 2 years, but that is because I got myself a new barrel sometime last year. This is the Wilson Combat 647 match grade barrel. It's stainless steel. It's made for the Gen 1 to Gen 4 Glock 19s, but I can guarantee you this works with my Gen 5 without any problems. You can tell it's been used, but the wear and tear kind of blends in with the barrel, so it's not as noticeable. And also, you may have seen me use this in my previous videos, and I may have mentioned it here and there, but I never went into detail about it until now. I got this barrel because I wanted to increase the accuracy and make my Gen 5 19 look a little bit nicer, and sure enough, I got both. So enough about that, let's go ahead and show the differences between the Wilson Combat barrel and the stock barrel. Right off the bat, you can see both are different colors. The OEM barrel matches the color of the firearm itself, whereas with the Wilson Combat barrel, it is stainless steel, it's shiny, and there's no paint or coating to it, for lack of better words. From the top view, the stock barrel has Glock 9x19 directly on top, whereas with the Wilson Combat one, there's nothing, but there's Wilson 9mm off to the side. This one you have to pay close attention to. The Gen 5 barrel is straight across, whereas with the Wilson Combat barrel, there's a slight dip towards the front, but this is replicating the Gen 1 to Gen 4 barrels. Looking at the front, the stock barrel is curved around. It's not as sharp, whereas with the Wilson Combat barrel, it's sharp around, it concaves just a little bit, and it looks more aggressive. And in my opinion, this looks better than the stock barrel. Another thing that's different is the lug patterns on the barrels. Now, this isn't a big deal, but you could definitely tell there's some differences. As you can see with the stock Gen 5 barrel, there's a little more detailing on it, whereas with the Wilson Combat barrel, there's not as much detailing to it, and it's a bit sharper. Then looking towards the inside, the loading ramps are slightly different. On the Wilson Combat barrel, it's polished and it's slightly longer than the OEM barrel. With the OEM one, it's, there's not really much else to it. And this is where things get interesting. As I mentioned, the stock barrel is considered the marksman barrel because the rifling is very complex, as you could see, and with the Wilson Combat barrel, it's a lot simpler. There's not as much going on the inside. And so enough about the differences between these two barrels. Let's see how they perform down the range. For this test, I've got 19 rounds in the mag, the Remington 115 grain, and the target is 5 yards away, give or take. And with the stock barrel, my shots were going to the upper left from the center. Now, here's the thing. My shots were hitting the general area of the center, but not directly in the middle like I'd hoped, more specifically within the X. And no matter how much adjusting I kept doing with my grip, my sights, and my trigger finger, my shots kept hitting, I'd say 11 o'clock from the X. With the Wilson Combat barrel, same amount of rounds, same type of rounds, and the target was at the same distance. However, the results were a little bit different and they were surprising. My shots were going towards 9 o'clock from the center, and they were a little bit closer towards the X. Some cases they were hitting on the X, other cases they were hitting on the line from the X and outside of it. And the groupings were a little bit tighter compared to the groupings with the stock barrel. And there you have it. Those are the results I got with both barrels, and I have to say, the Wilson Combat barrel performed just a little bit better than the stock Glock barrel. I will say, while I got better results with the Wilson Combat barrel, at the end of the day, it all comes down to user error, and I know for a fact I still have some adjusting I need to do on my end. And so that is it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you're subscribed, thanks. If you're not, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Take care, everyone. I will catch you on the flip side.